Now that you've all introduced yourselves to me, I am Joanna Williams, the managing broker up in Liberty. I am also our DotLoop admin, which means I get all the fun. So I always start this class, and I'm sorry if you've heard it before, this will be the millionth time I've said it this year. I always start this class by talking about how DotLoop came about and into Better Homes and Gardens world. We, at one point in 2011, had a seller that wanted to fill out their seller's disclosure online. Tech, being the awesome people they are, was trying to figure it out. Me, being the fun person I am, went to the NAR convention. While I was at the NAR convention, I walked by the DotLoop booth. Really cute guy stepped out of the DotLoop booth and said, "Hey Joanna, how you doing today? Let me show you what's going on with our product." And I said, "You know, Alex, I really hate your product. I really hate DotLoop. Like, you don't understand how much I hate it." And he's like, no, it's changing. Let me show it to you. So he starts showing it to me, and I was like watching and getting a little more excited, and I was like, this is not what I've seen before. "But Alex, can you help me with something?" He goes, "Yeah. We have a seller that wants to fill out his seller's disclosure online. Is that possible with DotLoop?" "Oh, absolutely. Let me show you how to do that." So I brought it back here, talked to everybody, and everybody kicking and screaming is now on board with DotLoop. My point with the story is that it is not about you. It's not about me. It's not about us. It's about the customer. What the customer wants is to digitally sign their documents. They may even want to digitally fill out their documents. They don't have time to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper anymore. Do you have time? I don't have time to fill out a seller's disclosure. When was the last time you filled one out? They're long and ugly, right? It's bad. So this is about serving the customer. So at any point today, whenever you're rolling your eyes and saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this," it's not about you. It's about your customers. It's about serving them the best way that you can. Okay? That's my soapbox. Class is over. No, just kidding. Feel free to laugh. We're going to have a good time today, I hope. All right. I will start by saying, please do not log into DotLoop any other way than www.dotloop.com. The reason being is that MLS gives you a free profile and Better Homes and Gardens gives you a premium profile. There's a big difference between the two, and if you click the link from MLS, you'll probably get to the free one, which isn't your premium one, and it is far less than you get with us. So dotloop.com, you sign in with whatever email address you use and your password.
How do you know if you're in the premium or the regular? If you haven't,
When you are in your profile, it should say DotLoop Premium in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like this today?
Yes. No.
The
circle's good now.
There is another version coming out in probably, I'm guessing, in the new year, that is squares. So when they switch this on you, I want to show you what it looks like so you don't feel like your cheese has been moved whenever this happens, okay? So instead of circles, you're going to have squares. And what I really love about the squares is that they tell you a little bit more about the loop. So if you're quickly looking for something, you can search here, and everything's going to be on this one page. You're not going to go back and forth between pages, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But this has been worked on and improved, and I really like the look of it. It's just a lot more organized, in my opinion, than just the circles. Okay? So when this happens, it'll happen without them asking you permission, and all of a sudden one day you'll log into DotLoop and it'll look like this. Please do not panic. Everything's still there. It just looks different. Squares instead of circles. But for today, so that we're all on the same page, I'm going to use the old DotLoop version. Now, on this page where there's circles, you cannot search. You just have to scroll down to find whatever it is you're looking for. Here, this is list view, and this is where you can search for an address, a name, or something like that. Okay, so you can go back and forth between the pages if you need to find something and you're still in this old version. Okay? Easy enough? Nods? Smiles? Okay. Elaine, you've been teaching a long time. You're going to love my class.
I've already taken this one, but now I'm using the DotLoop, which I was not doing before.
It's more relevant this time, isn't it?
Anyway,
It's like when you're taking a short sale class when you're actually in the middle of a short sale. It works out really well. Okay, so one of the first things that I usually focus on is making sure that your account is set up correctly. Now, if you have different profiles, 1, 2, or 3, or something like that, then you need to talk to your admin and we'll get things fixed for you. But for the most part, you should be able to just go to My Account and your page will look like this. In your first screen, it's nice to have everything filled out. Everybody see how I've got my email address, my phone number, everything like that? When you scroll to the bottom of that page, make sure that your time zone is Central Standard. This might not be important today, but it would have been important 3 months ago, right? When we were in the thick of things. I don't know how the market is down here. It's really slow up north.
Excuse me, how did you get into that again?
Right here,
Oh, okay.
My Account. And this is the first tab, Account Settings.
Okay.
And then you scroll all the way down, and sometimes today I might say below the fold. And when I say below the fold, this is the top of the page. Everything that you don't see is below the fold. So if I say below the fold, just know you have to scroll down. It's something I try to get out of my head, but that's just how I'm programmed to talk. Next, you've got profiles. And as you can see, I have several because I'm several people. I have multiple personalities. Thanks. You should only have one. Some of you might have two. But the one you're using all the time, you should click this Make Default button, this blue Make Default. I would also highly advise you to put your picture on it. I see everyone writing. That's good. The reason being is because sometimes when an agent, a co-op agent sends you a loop and you go to open that loop and they've maybe sent it through the MLS to your MLS profile as opposed to your DotLoop profile. Whenever you go to click that link to open that loop, it'll say which profile do you want to use. If your picture is on the correct profile, all you have to remember is to click your face. Okay?
Okay.
Any changes you make on this page, make sure you scroll all the way down and click Save. So you should have everything on here. You'll notice I have BHG Kansas City Homes. I have it that way on purpose because Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Kansas City Homes, when it populates into the boxes, it's too long. So I have BHG Kansas City Homes. Okay, just a note. I have my office address, which you want to make sure yours is in there too. For the most part, your admins have this all set up. For brokerage and associations, you should have access to your office and Heartland MLS. That gives you access to all of KCRAR's forms. If you don't, speak with your admin, they know how to do that. Now, license numbers, everybody always asks me in class, should I add my license number? Well, if you're only licensed in one state, sure. But most of us are licensed in both Missouri and Kansas, and so it's going to be problematic for you to back out that license number if you're working in the other state. So I would just say leave it blank if you're licensed in both states. If you're licensed in just one, go ahead and put it in. Okay? Always, always, blue button, save. Okay. Can you believe that's it? All right. These squares, you see where my little pointy finger is, those squares show you the templates. You don't really need this screen than to know that the templates are there. What I've done here, everyone has personal documents in inbox. You'll probably rarely use those unless you're a team and you have certain forms or builder forms or something like that. Starting here, listing documents all the way down to here. Listing docs are meant to be that listing packet that's printed in paper at your office. Your admin's got them sitting around for the most part, right? There's a listing packet you can grab and go. That's what this listing docs is. All those forms. The next one, I've named 6 different things, and I've settled on offer docs buyer side. So this is when you have a buyer and you're writing a contract. These are all of the docs you need for that. All BHG forms. This is our kitchen junk drawer. Everything you could ever possibly want is in here. And I will warn you, I try to alphabetize it whenever I do the forms while you all are celebrating the holidays and I'm doing the forms. I try to make them organized and alphabetize them. But then throughout the year, things get a little chaotic. We change forms, we add forms, we do different things. I don't always go back and alphabetize them, okay? So I try. Things that are in here, I did go ahead and put the waiver forms. I copied them from Heartland MLS just because people are using them a lot. So I went ahead and put the waiver forms in here just to make it easy on you. There's also the lead-based paint brochure. So you all know that brochure that's, 10 pages long? It's in here for you to send to buyers and sellers. Talent attraction form. The appraisal waiver that we came out with, the escalation form that our attorney wrote for us, all of those things that you've been talked to about throughout the year, all of those new forms or revised forms, they all get changed in here for you. Okay, so if we stop using something, for instance, somewhere mid-year, beginning of the year, the brokerage relationship disclosure for KREC changed. Nobody sent out an email to me. But somebody said, probably you, said, hey, we need to get this new form in there. So just know that everything is the most up-to-date in here, okay? MAR forms, we have St. Joe agent that uses them, so we keep them up to date in here. You'll probably never ever need them. KCRAR forms, now there are some forms that our company doesn't edit or template or change that KCRAR has that we don't really use very much. A commercial lease, for example. So if you're not finding what you need in our forms, hop on into KCRAR's and use theirs. And the other day I said in class, all the Spanish forms are in here, and it was an aha moment for them. They're all here. They're KCRERs. We don't change them for Better Homes and Gardens. Okay? Everybody good with that so far? Next is people. Again, you'll probably never click on this unless you have a problem. So sometimes DotLoop gets a little bit glitchy when it comes to people and changing their email address or changing their name or something like that. If it's glitching on you and you can't get it changed within the loop, pop into your contacts and then go to these 3 dots. In life, 3 dots are, etc. In DotLoop, 3 dots mean, etc., more. Okay, so if you're looking for something in DotLoop, try to remember me saying, etc., 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 3 dots. Go click on the 3 dots. And here is where you have a delete button. If you're having an issue with somebody's contact information, totally delete them out of your DotLoop and then add them back in. Okay? If it's being cantankerous with you, this is the way to solve it. I currently don't use tasks or teach tasks. If you'd like to learn more about it, I'll show you where to at the end of the class. Are we ready to sell a house?
Yes.
Are we ready to sell a house?
Yes, do it. Let's do it.
Friday afternoons seem to be the sleepiest crowds. All right. So this big blue plus is your create a loop. And I need to find my address. 415 Northwest Briarcliff Parkway is what we're selling today.
Is that going to change?
What?
That circle with the plus?
Yeah, it's
the
going to
other-
be, it's a button that says create loop.
Oh, it was just, okay.
Yeah. It's actually easier to tell what to do in the new system.
Okay.
415, is that right?
Yes.
Thanks. Hello. This is awesome.
Oh, there's some more. So this plays when you, it's fabulous.
Okay, so as you can see, I love it. So yesterday's class, somebody's phone,
Like their
their ringer is crickets.
Oh.
And I was just like, well, that doesn't hit my ego at all. All right, so as you can see, as I started typing in the address, I have 2 options. So this one is pulling from Google Maps, and this one is pulling from the MLS. Anytime you have a choice and one is MLS, click the MLS one. The reason is it's going to make your life easier. Is that a good enough reason? Do you want to save time?
Sure.
Import the data, create loop. Boom. The first thing I always do whenever I come in here is I select my transaction type, and I'm going to say purchase on this one. And then I'm going to go into this view details. Everybody see where I'm at? The reason I'm in here is because I'm going to check a few things over. So for instance, today I'm going to be a buying agent. So I'm going to call myself that. Okay? And I'm going to keep scrolling down. And the one thing that is not fixed that will drive you nuts is that when the data pulls over from MLS, it does not do street direction. So as you can see, we are missing the northwest here, right? How many of you have had to write an amendment because of that? Oh, They're working on it because before they didn't even pull over the street type, so we're halfway there. We're halfway to the problem being solved. Everything else pulls over, the MLS number, the zip code, all of those things. Now you can spend time in here and fill all of these things out and they'll populate into your forms. However, I like to skip this and fill out the contract box by box. It works better for me. You can have your own process, but if I am skipping boxes on the contract because it's auto-filled, I feel like I'm going to skip too many things. So I don't spend any time on these extra things for that reason. As you can see, there's a ton. I come all the way to the bottom of the page and click Save. Everybody good with that? Another thing that's really good to know about DotLoop is it has links to take you back to your loop all of the time. Instead of pressing your computer's back button, and what I mean by that is this, your browser's back button, you don't want to use that. You want to use this. It might work, or it might take you to where? Disney World or something? We don't know. Just click the link. All right, so once you're in here, please know that the name of this, everyone's going to see the name of your loop. You can name your loops whatever you want to. We like for them to be named with the address. You can also add your client's last name or something on the end if you want to. It's real easy to rename it. You just click on it and then type. Okay, so I could add -Smith here. Everybody see me? And I just hit enter and it saves it. Okay, so if you want to change the name of your loop, you can. Just don't name it Crazy Cat Lady because they'll see it. Thanks for the giggle. The next thing that you want to do before you go to adding forms is to add people. It's a very important step. So you add person, and my buyer is James Smith. And you will just type in their name, type in their email address, and give them a role. The role is super, super important for everyone in your loop. So telling DotLoop who the people are that you're working with is very important. So Jane is a buyer. You can put all of this stuff in if you want to. You don't need it. Okay? Now, everyone see in this corner where it says send to intro email? This box right here?
Yes.
Don't click it.
I do.
It seems like a good idea, but what your buyer is doing is they are waiting for the offer that you're writing. Okay, and if you send this intro email, it's going to confuse them. It talks about how DotLoop is a digital signature system, blah, 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 blah. This is what you can expect. But it confuses them. If it confuses millennials, it's going to confuse everyone. So don't click
Why
it.
is it there?
Because DotLoop thinks it would be a good idea. That's why it's there.
It's not about them.
It's not about them.
That's right.
Just saying.
Just don't click it. So anyway, we're going to add person.
I have a question about adding their name.
Okay?
Do we make sure when we add that name, if it's going to be populated in the documents, that we have it the way they're going to want to put their name on?
It's the next thing I talk about. Well, not really the next thing. It's the next thing after we load the documents in. Okay? But the initials and the signature that you want on the contract. If it's a builder, if it's a trustee, whatever it is, it needs to be them. That person, that human that's going to be signing it. Okay? And we'll talk about that when we get to the forms. Now, we need to go get our contract, right? Super simple. Contracts are in templates. So here we are. We're writing an offer. We can select all if we want to, or we can scroll through and look at things and see what we need. This buyer expectations sheet is a little extra thing that's in there. That's kind of nice. You can have them fill that out. Yeah?
Since the templates show up here when we're in the process of doing this, why do we have that thing at the very beginning up on the top right-hand side?
What thing at the very beginning on
The
that?
thing that, it's two boxes that say template on.
It's just, a lot of people use the personal documents in inbox. That's just where things are stored. It's not really meant for you. That's not meant for you to use for your loop. It's just where the templates are. So if you are looking for a form, if you want to get to a form really fast and download it and print it out and not do anything with it, you can click that document screen, grab the document, download it, and print it and run out the door. So that's a fast way to get to it if you don't want to create a loop. Okay? So I'm going through here. I've got the fixed commission, the buyer agency. You've already got that signed, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe a sale worksheet, you know, whatever. Grab whatever you want to. You can also search. You can search and the forms will come up. You can go to other folders and find something else. Click it. And it will retain all of the things that you clicked in the other folder. So you can go from folder to folder and grab what you need. Does that make sense to everybody? Once you copy them in, it's got all of them in here. Ta-da! So that's how your templates, your forms get into your loop. You can always go get more by add document. Okay? Now, we're going to write the offer, so we're going to open up what we need right now. Okay? And you'll see that I've clicked multiple documents at once. If you want to make your life easy, you'll do it like this. And then you'll go to this open button. What this is going to do is open all of the forms that I have checked all at once. I'm writing an offer. I don't want to keep going back and forth, right? So then this autofill box pops up. And this is part of the magic of DotLoop. This is part of the reason I love it so much, is now we've told it that Jane Smith is buyer 1, Joanna Williams is the buying agent, and Julie Cardis is the listing agent. Down here, it knows what property we're talking about. Again, another place where you can check and make sure that address is right. Okay? And then you scroll all the way down and you click autofill. What happens at that point is everything starts filling in that you've told it to fill in.
I thought you said do it box by box. Don't use autofill.
No, use autofill. Absolutely use autofill. Uh-huh. Absolutely.
It's different than the first spot where you said don't use this. It wasn't an autofill box. That was something.
Oh, the details. In the detail, you don't have to fill out all the detail. So in the details, when you're creating your loop, you don't have to fill all that out. But when you get to the autofill screen, when you open your forms and it says, do you want to autofill? Absolutely click yes to autofill. Okay? So this isn't a contract class, so I don't teach you how to fill out the contracts. Hopefully somebody's done that by now. Right? Okay, down as you scroll through, you will see this JS. This is not her actual signed initials. This is just saying that this box is programmed for JS to initial. Okay? This confuses everyone. These are not her initials. Her initials will look scrolly and they will have a date on them. You've all seen them? Okay. So go through your forms, fill them all out like a good agent. Don't click your signature until you're totally done or even until you get it back from the buyer. If you have a lot of stuff to keep filling out, your signature is going to keep getting erased. So don't click your signature. I know it feels like you should, but don't click your signature until you're either completely done or you've got it back from the buyer. Okay? That'll just save you some headache. Of course, you put your name in here. You can assign, you see how I just hovered over this signature box? You can assign this field to your broker, whoever your broker is. All BHG brokers know how to sign in DotLoop. So you can assign this to them. It might freak out. Annie gets a role too as buying broker. Add person. Easy enough. That's how you do it on the fly. Okay? So that assigns it to Annie to sign. And you have all of your forms. Now I promised you that I would talk about if this was going to be bought under a different name other than Jane Smith. Jane Smith could be buying it under Smith Family Trust. If you put Smith Family Trust on the first screen where you're adding people, the initials are going to be SFT. We want those initials to be JS as the trustee for the Smith Family Trust. And you can do, we've had it accepted, and I don't know, you might have other issues down here, but we've had it accepted as JST for Jane Smith Trustee. And we've also had it accepted as just Jane Smith, and then they have a document, the title company has a document that they have them sign that says that they're the trustee at the table. So you can do it either way. I just like for the initials to be true. So you don't really want those initials to be Smith Family Trust, SFT, okay? So to make that happen, all you have to do on your forms is back out Jane's name and put the name of the trust or the name of the building company or the name of whoever owns it, the bank, okay? So you just put the name in there, and down here you can see it didn't change this at all. It's got Jane still as the signer, okay? And see how it populated onto the next form once I changed it? So now all of my forms say Smith Family Trust, just like they should. This is the same. Well,
Yes, we see. We want response.
I just want to make sure you're awake.
Yes.
It's the same, even, so we like to put a married couple, a single person, things like that. Go ahead and put that on your contract. You don't have to make your people that. Yeah.
To get back a little bit, that's trustee. What about a corporation?
Same thing. You're going to have, your corporation is going to have a signer. And that signer is the name that you're going to add in the beginning.
I'm working with a buyer right now, but it's a company's buying investment property,
Mm-hmm.
but they requested you gotta have a company's name and then whoever the signer.
Uh-huh.
Now, where am I gonna put that company's name?
Right here where I put Smith Family Trust.
But on the bottom of the signing, they're still required to have that
Yes.
corporate's name.
Uh-huh. So it won't change this. It won't change that. You have to have the signer's name, not the corporation's name.
But on the bottom of the signing page, they're required to have a corporation, a name on it, and then the signer's name. So I even work with one foreclosure.
So for you-
required to have
That's when you go back to paper contracts.
that has to be handled.
No, really for you, you're going to add a text box and you're going to have to do this to every single page.
On the DotLoop.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, DotLoop isn't made for that kind of monkey business. You can add text, and what you're talking about is,
It's ABC LLC.
yeah, ABC LLC right here. So that's what she's talking about. So you would have to go and add every single one. You also, if there is more than 2 buyers, you also would have to touch every single page. So let's get rid of this by clicking the X here. So if I had more than 2 buyers, I would come down and add initials. Okay.
What you would get when you have non-husband wife, guy living with the gal and they're both buying it together, but they're separate. So they would, that's.
Well, no. So how about me and my brother and my brother's wife are all buying a property.
Okay,
So it could be me, my brother, and then we need a third one. So when you need that third person, then you just add boxes. Okay?
Joanna, where did you just hit that X that deleted it?
Isn't that fun? So let me click away from this. So it disappears when you're not clicked on anything. DotLoop's kind of fun like that. So I click here, and the X appears.
Up there, so anything that you want to get rid of, you click on it and the X comes in up there and you can get it.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's wonderful.
As long as nobody signed.
Well, right, you're still editing the document.
I've gone back and redone documents because I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I made a mistake and I couldn't get rid of the mistake. Okay, that's.
Yeah, I'll show you where to look for things like that at the end of the class. So we don't want you redoing documents,
I'll just
okay?
leave for now.
No, you want to stay for the whole thing because I'm so much fun. So my next thing that I talk about here is that we get to, I just always have to make a point of this because I feel like it's one of the biggest problems we deal with. Where am I at? Page 10, 11, 12, 13. Everybody knows what I'm going to say right now?
sure.
Yes.
Please make sure you click the box for the other agent. You know that you're supposed to. Please make sure that you click how the other agent is working, which you find out from the MLS. I know you all know how to do that. Please make sure it happens because it's impossible for them to go back and edit it and add that checkbox. Okay? So make sure that you're doing this correctly. Please. Okay? I said it wasn't a contract class, but I lied for a second. Now down here, can we have a little singing or applause for the fact that the other agent's information auto-filled for us?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh,
That's because we selected that MLS. When that MLS popped up and said, when I was typing in the address to create my loop and I selected the MLS one, this all populated in. Okay? It saves you a bunch of time. I know flipping back and forth between the MLS can be a little bit cantankerous. You have to assign this to yourself. These are unassigned because you could be a seller writing an offer, a listing agent writing an offer. So these are unassigned. So you have to assign this to yourself if you're the one writing the contract, okay? So you just hover over it, click assign field, click who you are, argue with it a little bit, hold your tongue right, click that box, okay? Everybody get that? The other thing I'm going to say is if the other agent is using DotLoop and uses your form, I'll show you how that happens. If the other agent is using DotLoop and using your form, this final acceptance is unlocked on every single type of contract and the counteroffer. The final acceptance is unlocked for you to go ahead and put it in after you get all the signatures. It will not clear signatures. It is the only thing that won't clear signatures. Okay? Yeah.
If you have your exclusive buyer agency before you find that house, can you somehow then still link it to MLS when you do find the particular house to autofill the other agent?
No.
That would be good.
Wouldn't it? It's probably something they're working on. Let me ask Evan. Link later after. I always make these notes and then I'm like, what is that? What was I'm telling myself to do? Okay, link later after EBA. We'll ask them about that. Okay. So is everyone comfortable with how all of that happened? We're good? Mostly? Okay, once we have everything filled out, we want to share this with the buyer, right? But do we? Don't we have more for the buyer to sign? Yay, thank you. So right now I'm just going to click save. Okay? And I'm going to use my little arrow to go back to my loop. These documents haven't been shared. Would you like to share them? I always come here and click no. I have not turned this box off ever in my life because I like the reminder. You can turn it off, but I wouldn't. Okay, so we need to go to MLS and get their seller's disclosure, right? So we're going to view supplements. I'm going to pretend I'm using this one and use a different one because I want to make a point. So I saved that to my computer. You all understand, right? You've all done that before. We're going to add document. Now, when something is saved on your computer, you're going to use this browse box. And what's going to happen is it's going to say, what do you want from your computer? I'm going to pretend that this disclosure is for this property just because we need to, okay? Everybody with me? It's not the right property. I'm pretending. Okay. So when I open this up, you could add initials, boom, assign field. Who's got time for that? For every page? You got time for that? No, I don't either. All right, so we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to see how many documents are actually here. So it looks like we've got the seller's disclosure and the franchise. Over here on the right, you saw some page numbers. It disappeared as soon as I said it. You see the 9 on the right? Those are your page numbers. That's important. So we need to split this document into how many pieces? 2. Thanks. So we go to File and Split Document. This might change your world. So it's already programmed for 2. If you need to split it into more, you can split it into however many you need to. Okay? So first we've got that seller's disclosure. And that was page 1 through 8. If you've got a lot of documents, you might just want to use a piece of paper and write it all down and make notes and then do this, okay? Sometimes you might have to actually use a pen and paper. The second one, thanks.
How tragic.
The second one is the franchise, if I can spell it. And it's pages 9 to 9. So then I say split document. Now, what happened here is my first document that I uploaded is gone, and 2 documents now take its place. So when I go back to my loop, I have a seller's disclosure and a franchise. There's a reason I did that, and it's because I want to save time with this seller's disclosure. Okay? So I can pop open the seller's disclosure, and now I can go to this File button again and click Apply Template. Everybody with me? Nobody's looking at their phones? So I go into my BHG forms and I search for, please write this down, the word template. As you can see, I've got 3 templates to choose from. Next year I might name them a little better, but right now you've got to hover over them to see what they totally say. This one is template for buyer signature on seller's disclosure. This one is template for seller signatures on the residential contract. And this one is template for buyer initials and signature on the lead-based paint. Okay, those are the templates that are available for you. The one we want today is for the seller's disclosure, right? So we click and click apply. And what happens then is we get these boxes, and they might be a little bit offset, but all I want you to worry about is just making sure it's not covering any text on the document. If it's offset from these little buyer boxes, nobody cares. She doesn't care, I don't care, MREC doesn't care, KREC doesn't care. So please scroll through the document and make sure, see right here, I need to move these, right? Because they're covering some of the handwriting. I need to get them out of the way, okay? Now, in one class, somebody said, well, that just says buyer. Why aren't there initials in there? You know, the JS that we were seeing on all the other contracts. If you would like to see the JS in those boxes, you can click this autofill button. You don't have to, but you can. You have unsaved changes. Do you want to save before assigning fields? Of course. Jane Smith is the buyer. Autofill. And that makes those boxes say JS.
Would that just confuse the person?
Not at all.
They have to still put their own initials in.
Uh-huh. Well, all they have to do is click the box.
Oh, okay.
So then you just want to save this. The other thing that we need to mess with is that darn franchise addendum that everybody's got, right? So here we need to put our buyer's name in. So we add text. And when you add text and you still have the box, you can hold your shift button down and move however far you think you need to and click your cursor. And it makes the box bigger for you. So you don't have to pull it to resize it anymore, you can just hold down your shift button and click. Makes it bigger, a little bit easier on you, right? So you type in, this is Smith Family Trust, isn't it? And then you need to go down here and you need to add a signature. Everybody comfortable with how that happens?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're good to go. We're ready to send this offer over to our buyers, right? We've got it all filled out. We're ready to send it over to our buyer. I am a little bit of an organizational freak. So I don't like this being out of order in my brain. You can do this, we're all running our own business, so you can do this however you want to. So if you don't mind it being out of order, that's fine. But in my brain, I need it in order. So I feel like I want the contract first. So what I do is I click on the document and I move it wherever I want it to be. Now, if you notice, as I start pulling this up, and it's really hard to see, but if I'm right on top of something, it says replace with this form. You don't want to do that. You are simply moving it. So make sure that when you're moving it, that language disappears. Everybody see what happened there? So as I'm moving it up, replace with, I go a little bit higher, and it goes away. Okay? So then you can let go of your cursor and drop it where you want it. Okay? Make sense? All right, so now in my opinion, this is in a little better order. And what I'm going to do is, like the sales worksheet, they don't need, I didn't really use the fixed commission, whatever. So I'm going to click whatever forms that I need and want to send to my buyer. Okay, good. I'm sending them all at once. And I'm going to click share. And the reason you want to click them all and click the share button up here is so that they don't have to open multiple emails. We're trying to make this easier on our clients, right? So if you do it this way, it is one email for them to click and open on their phone because they're not opening this on their computer. Now, it's already got Jane Smith programmed in as a buyer. It says that she can sign. If you have two buyers, do you see where this says 33 fields assigned? If you have two buyers, you want to make sure those numbers match. So if we had John Smith, buyer, 30 fields assigned, I've messed up somewhere. Okay? This is your double check system to make sure you don't mess up. Down here, you can enter a custom message. You know, that love letter that you're going to send to your client because they're buying a house. It's $485,000, I think. Yay! We finally found the one you love. Can't wait for the day you move in. We got a few hurdles to cross, but here's your contract. If you have any questions, let me know. Share. Do not, for your buyer, attach the PDF to the email. I disrupted the whole world yesterday when I said that. The reason you should not send that PDF right now is because every single person sees that there's a PDF attached and they open the PDF and try to click on the PDF. That is not what you want them to do. So you do not want to confuse people by attaching the PDF. Okay? And I'll go back to that in a second after I show you what the buyer sees. So you can't read this email, but it looks like it's from me. It says Joanna Williams on it. Please review these 6 documents for this loop. You see this big blue line here? That's what they click. So if they're calling you and saying, I don't know what to do, click the big blue button. Okay, some people might not realize it's a big blue button, but it's totally a big blue button. That's what it is. So as they click, it says view documents. It's pretty self-explanatory. So as they click, it's going to open up, and they can get started. And as you can see, they're not reading the document. I'm adopting my signature. They can change it if they need to. You see how this is going straight to the initials? Good thing I have a big phone so you can all see this.
So they're not gonna read anything, they're just.
They're not reading the contract. This is where the broker in me has to give you a little warning. I highly advise you to have a buyer consultation before you go out with your buyers. During that time, please explain what goes on with the contract, how it happens, what these different contingencies are, what an inspection period is, the different ways that they can get out of the contract, the trouble with it. Have that buyer consultation before you go to write an offer. Okay? That's what I want you to do. I want you to have buyer consultations because they're not reading the contract.
That's what we do anyway. That's what.
Yes. What most people used to do is explain the contract as people were signing it. Here, this page means this, sign it. Here, this page means this, sign it. That's when people used to explain the contract, if they didn't have a buyer consultation in the first place. You've all been trained to have that buyer consultation, but not everybody does it. So that's the broker in me saying, please make sure at some point in time you have explained the contract. Okay? Now, I am not going to click every single signature on here because that would take all day. Not really, but I just don't want to hold up class for it. So I've said that I'm done, and DotLoop says 18 fields were missed. They were not filled in. Do you want to skip them or fix it? This is what your customer sees when they're skipping past this. And they can click skip, and I'll show you what it looks like. So, you all saw me partially sign the residential real estate sale contract, right? See this red part signed? That tells me something's wrong. They skipped past it for a reason. This is when I reach out to them and I say, hey, what's going on? Now, if they haven't looked at it, if they haven't even clicked on it, everything's fine, they just haven't done it yet. But if it says partially signed, something is wrong. They may have gotten cold feet. Something has happened here. They lost internet? I don't know. Something's happened. You need to make sure. So you can always see right here what's happened with it. These orange links that say waiting on others, it tells me that Jane viewed, but we're still waiting for Jane to sign. Isn't that cool? You know she opened it, but she didn't sign. So you always know kind of what's going on, which is pretty cool. Okay? You can always keep track. And in the spring, you know, you can just sit here and click refresh over and over and over and over and over and over and over again while they're signing, right? Something else to be aware of is you must be out of the forms. Don't send this out for signature and then get back into the form and sit there. Don't leave your computer screen up on this form after you've sent it out for signatures, it will not let your client sign. You must be out of the form. And the times where we have the biggest problem is when somebody has opened the form on their phone and not backed out of it. So if you're looking at it on your phone or sending it out on your phone, make sure you back fully out of it after you've sent it out. Okay? Just a fair warning, because it'll tell them that Joanna is still editing the form in private and you can't sign it yet. So it's frustrating for people. So you want to make sure that you back out of it.
And if they've only partially signed, they can, and they back out of it, they can go back in and view it again and sign
Via that same email. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to pretend that Jane signed all of these forms. Everybody good with pretending that? And we're getting ready to send this over to the listing agent, but there's one tiny, really important piece of information that we're missing about this buyer, and that's the pre-approval or proof of funds. How are they going to pay for it? Okay, we're missing it in here. Normally, that's something that comes to you from a lender in your email, right? Normally, that's emailed over to you. So in this instance, and I lose everyone here whenever I go to do this, so I will do it twice, okay? We want to get a document from our email. This is how we do it. We click Add Document, Email. This is an email address. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. We click the big blue button and say Copy to Clipboard. Then you go to your email, which I conveniently have open, and you find something with an attachment. You find that thing from the lender, your pre-approval letter, your proof of funds, or whatever. You find what you're looking for, and you click Forward. And then you right-click your cursor, and you click Paste. And then you click Send. And it works a lot slower in class, so I get to show it to you twice. It'll be there when we get back to it, but I'm going to do this again, just so everybody wraps their head around it, because to me, this is awesome. You can send your inspection documents in here. You can send your title confirmation in here, your earnest money receipt, things like that, straight from your email into your DotLoop. Get it out of your email. How many of you have searched your email forever looking for a document? I mean, that's not where to store documents. That's just not. It's a mess. Email is chaos, okay? Add document, email, copy to clipboard, find the email you want to send to your loop, click forward. In the To section, right-click, paste. Then click Send. And so here is now my pre-approval letter. Okay? It's arrived. Now sometimes this is not named what you want it to be named. If you would like to rename it, click the More button, etc. Rename. Okay, that's just typing. Enter, saves it. Okay? Easy enough? You do want to make sure these documents are named something that makes you recognize them. Because if you have ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on 6 documents, you're gonna have to click on every one to open it to see what it is. Save yourself some time in the beginning and rename things.
So if you clicked right now on that pre-approval Smith, because I always get paranoid that it doesn't attach or doesn't forward. It's that easy. Okay, good.
It really is
Double check.
that easy.
It's there. Okay.
Yeah.
I did have one
As long
more
as it's a
question.
PDF.
Okay.
Back to that initial thing on the phone. I'm new. If they sat at their laptop, will they see the whole contract?
It still zeroes in on the signature.
So it didn't benefit them to, okay,
Mhm.
all right. Thank you.
Yep.
Does accounting require to divide the folders out more? So it's a little bit easier to, like, maybe have buyer's docs as one folder and then contract docs?
You're really a woman after my own heart, but no, it's not required.
Okay.
I like for things to be organized, but that's
Yeah.
just my world. I feel like that's something I would do because I like to be organized, but 90% of agents are never gonna do that, so we would never require something like that because we'd get a lot of kickback from that. So we see that I've got 2 things here now, and I really don't need this second one. It just didn't work at first, so I can get rid of this other one by going over here and clicking Archive. And once I have archived a document, if I ever want to see it again, I can click this Show Archived button. And it'll show me what I've archived. Okay? Cool? All right. So we are going to send this. Everybody, do not let me press send. Okay. We're going to send this to the listing agent now. We've written the offer, we've got the pre-approval in there, we have everything we need, right? So it's time to share it with the listing agent. Share. Click the documents you want to send and only the documents that you want to send. You don't need to send them your buyer's agency, you don't need to send them the buyer estimated, you don't need to send them any private information, just send them what you want them to see. Okay? So you click on the agent, and because she is the listing agent and DotLoop recognized that she was the listing agent, it's going to give her can edit and private capabilities. All co-op agents deserve can edit and private capability. Okay? If it does not say can edit and private, make sure you toggle it to where it does. Okay? Co-op agents can edit in private. Again, write your love letter. Right? Then, yes, please, absolutely, for the co-op agent, attach PDF to the email. Because we all see those all caps on MLS that says, please do not use DotLoop or send me any DotLoop contracts. I hate DotLoop. We all see that, right? We've seen that. Agent remarks, don't send via DotLoop. Well, it doesn't matter if you send via DotLoop if you've attached the PDF. Okay? If they are not a DotLoop user and they don't want to use DotLoop, the PDF is attached just like you went to a copier and scanned it in and forwarded it to them. Okay? That's what that PDF looks like. You always want to send that PDF because they're going to open it probably on their phone while they're out in the field. And in order to look through it, that it's really easier for them to click on the PDF and open it up and look through it. So this is the nice thing that we do for our co-op agents. Do not, please, let DotLoop be your messenger. Because if we look in my email right now, I probably have 50 emails that say, so-and-so shared something via DotLoop for you, to you. If you are an active agent and you've got things going on, you could have 6 offers that all say so-and-so shared DotLoop with you. What you need to do, don't let DotLoop be your messenger. Call that agent and say, this is Joanna Williams with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Kansas City Homes. You know, the best company around. I'm serious, people want to work with us, so please say Better Homes and Gardens because they want to work with you. They'll be looking for your offer. I promise. This is Joanna Williams. I sent over an offer on blah, blah, blah. That place in Briarcliff. Let me know. If they don't answer, leave a voice message, text, whatever you need to do. But don't let this just be the message. Did I make that clear enough? I'm a little too passionate about that sometimes. All right. So, she's got the offer. She's going to work with it. What she's going to do is she's either going to come into DotLoop and she is going to use DotLoop and assign her sellers, and then her sellers are going to sign via DotLoop in your loop and all of those things. There is a common misconception that when people are working in your loops and working with your documents that they can see your client's email address and all of the forms that are in there. That doesn't happen. They only see what you've shared with them, and your client's email address disappears when they're looking at it, when the other agent is looking at it, okay? So you're not giving away anything unless you accidentally click a form and send it to them, okay? So we clear up that misconception because it's a big deal for people. In talking about the templates, you all saw that one of the templates was for seller initials and signatures on the residential real estate contract, right? So you get the 16-page document over, and you don't want to drag and drop those signatures like the seller's disclosure. You want to apply the template. Please make a note in your head or on your piece of paper that page, their signatures are on page 15, aren't they?
16.
Is it really the last page? Okay. So the final signatures on the back page for the seller are not assigned to them. The reason being is if you want to counteroffer, you do not want those signatures to automatically happen. If they want to sign the first contract that comes over, you need to assign those signature boxes to them. It's the lesser of two evils because you can't fix it. You have to get all new signatures if they sign accidentally, okay? You do not want them to accidentally sign, so those have been left unassigned on purpose, okay? That's just something to know. The template is there. It makes things easy to use. Yeah.
I had something like that happen recently, except that I don't remember assigning anything to my seller. Could the other agent have assigned it?
If you didn't use
I wouldn't have assigned it, and yet it appeared there, and I was thinking.
It was probably on their template already. It was probably what they used. Was probably already.
At all.
Yeah.
I had to amend it. I mean, it was, you hate to have to go through that, and I just couldn't figure out how I got there. So.
Right. So watch that. It's a common error, and that's why I left ours for this template that I made. That's why I left that unassigned, because it's a common thing to have happen. So watch that. So if you're working in DotLoop, say you were that co-op agent that I just sent the offer to, and you're using my loop, that would be assigned to your sellers. So you would have to go unassign it on that particular form. Okay?
If they're using my form.
If they're using DotLoop, if you start out with DotLoop and they use your DotLoop. Now, if they send you a PDF residential sale contract and you need to apply seller initials and signatures, then you apply a template. just like the seller's disclosure. If it's just a flat PDF. Okay? Because sometimes they don't send things to us via DotLoop, they send it to us as a PDF. Okay? Pretty clear?
Yes.
Should we list a house?
Sure.
You get me? All right. Oh, I've used my address so much. Maybe we'll use my neighbor. Okay. So we're taking a listing, and this listing isn't an active, we're taking a listing, so it's not active in the MLS yet. So we might be pulling addresses from Google Maps. Perfectly fine to do this in this instance. Okay. Create loop. Now, when you're making a listing loop, I want you to have 2 folders. Right now you have 1 folder. Click to add folder. And now you have 2. See new folder, folder. Okay? This one we're going to call MLS Supplements Delta. This one we're going to call Seller Docs Delta. Okay? Clear enough? We all know how to add another folder. Got it? Your supplements are what? We're going to go to templates, and your supplements that you want are, what do you share with the other agent?
Seller disclosure.
Seller's disclosure.
Franchise, web page.
And maybe, how about an MLS cover sheet? Oh, what did I call it? Offer cover sheet. I saw it. There we go. All right. How many of you really like these cover sheets that tell you all the title company information and things like that? I love them. I think they're
What was
great.
in there?
Yeah, we created it. Okay, and then your seller docs are your private docs with your seller. So of course that is going to be your exclusive right to sell, probably your showing instructions. Oh. Seller estimated. Copy them all in. We get this, right? We all know how to grab those templates, right? Okay. Now, this is just kind of a process idea. If you know that you're getting the listing, so if you have visited the property, talked to the seller, and you know that you're getting the listing, and you've said that you're going to send docs over, you can go ahead and send that seller's disclosure over for them to fill out right now, which is what I do. I go ahead and send them the seller's disclosure before I get all the other docs together, because you've got to send it separately anyway. So why not go ahead and send it whenever you know that you're getting the listing? Okay? The reason you send it separately is it's the only one they're going to fill out. So I always open it. I didn't add people. Here, let me go back here. Let's go ahead and make Jane Seller House now. Didn't take. Okay. Yeah. Autofill. So I do want you to go ahead and put the seller name and the property address in for them. And you need to make sure that their initial spots are ready and their signature spot is ready. So now I'm going to save and share this with Jane. And it automatically says she can sign, but what I want her to do is can fill and sign. So for a customer, it's can fill and sign, not can edit in private. Okay? Customer, can fill and sign. Here's the seller's disclosure, blah, 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 right? Click share. So now she's got the seller's disclosure and hopefully she's sitting there working on it. Now you can go through and do your listing documents the way you normally would. Click what you want to open, open them, autofill, right? We all know how to do this now. Okay. Go through, fill in what you need to. Good. We're all cool with this? All right. Save and share. This time she's can sign only. Okay. Share.
I have a question.
Okay. What's your question?
Husband and wife, you have to have two emails. Do you have to send the same thing to him, the same thing to her?
You send it at the same time, yeah. So what you do, if you have a husband and wife, so let's go ahead. I just have to figure out who my other person is.
John Doe.
Maybe, but probably not. So now I have two sellers, right? Oh, it's saying that's me because that's the personal email address I use to buy houses. So we'll roll with that. So if you have two, what's going to happen is down here, it's just going to put two people on it. And when you share with them, they're just going to open it up and they're going to click through. And a lot of times the wife is going to open it first and she's going to get her work done. And then he'll open it up after she says, hey, you've got an email. It's just what happens.
So if they're filling out the seller's disclosure.
A lot of times when they're filling out the seller's disclosure, one or the other will do it. I find. They both have access to it, but I find that one side is normally the one that fills it out and the other one will go look at it after it's done.
Okay. Okay.
Some people say, oh my gosh, I can't do this online. Can I just handwrite it? Absolutely. We want to serve them how they want to be served. If they want to handwrite it, handwrite it. There is nothing in this world that says that we can't still handwrite documents. I'll take a contract on a napkin.
There was some confusion yesterday that if you had two people signing, they each had to have a different email address.
Yes, which is very different from DocuSign. DocuSign allows you to use the same email address for 2 people. DotLoop does not. I know, isn't that weird? It shouldn't happen. It's not right. DotLoop says that's not right. 2 people can't use the same email address because how can you guarantee that those 2 people are signing if you don't have separate email addresses?
It's not about them. Just say it.
So DotLoop says you have to have, each person has to have their own email address. In order for this all to be legit, they each have to have their own email.
So you have older people
Yeah.
who, they have one email address and they barely even know how to use their email.
So you handwrite the contract with it.
That's right.
Yep.
That's fun.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, let me,
Yeah.
absolutely, you can fill it out and print it on here. You can fill it all out on here. You can download it once you got it all filled out. And then drive over to their house and have them manually sign it. I had an agent out of town. I did that at 10 o'clock one night because I had a guy on the phone that just could not understand how to click the blue button. So I did it.
Back to the old days of the 60s and 70s.
We got it. No, well, you know what though? It's all about the service. This is a service industry, isn't it? And so when you're at a store and you're trying to scan your card and they take it away from you and they put a plastic bag over your card and they run it through their scanner real quick, thank you. Because it's a service industry. They've taken the problem out of your hands, right? So that's kind of where we're at. There will be a time when there's nobody in this world that doesn't have their own email address. We're not there yet. So they can real quick make an email address, Gmail, whatever. If they really do want to sign that way, that's fine. They can real quick make a new email address. Emails are free. So there's always that option, and then there's always the option of just downloading and printing and taking it over to them. So when you download, we're kind of off on a tangent here, but let's go ahead and pay attention to it. If you were doing that, you would just grab whatever forms you need, click, 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 and then click download. It appears down in my corner here, right? I don't know what happens on a Mac because I've never owned one. So I can just print these and everything's all filled out for me. Just like writing them on KCH Agent, but they're here. Okay? So also, if you're ever in here and you're trying to print and you're having trouble with it, download it and then click print. If you click that download button, you can almost always print perfectly. But if you click print here, sometimes it just goes wacky on you. Okay? So pay attention to that. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. No, it's fine. No, really, it's a good point to make. Because that's what we're all here for, is to learn, right? Every way possible to do this. So the reason you have 2 folders here is because DotLoop has created a cool thing called Easy Offer. And what Easy Offer is it allows the other agent to grab your supplements and go into your loop and start their loop within your loop. So if they're writing an offer on your listing, they can copy and paste your Easy Offer link into their browser and go into your loop. And then add the contract documents and everything else, but they'll have your supplements in there. It's kind of cool. And the reason that it's cool is because it keeps everything in the same loop. So we all know 3 months ago, 6 months ago, the market was crazy. And you would have 5 or 10 offers on the same house as soon as you listed it. Mind-boggling, right? That meant that you had 5 or 10 loops out there. what Easy Offer does to solve that issue is it makes a new folder for each offer that has come in. And so it would say, offer from Joanna Williams. Offer from Elaine Kavner. Okay, so it'd keep it all in the same loop instead of you having to go look at 10 loops. It's amazing. The way to make it work is to say transaction type is a listing for sale. Loop status active listing. Now when I click this, I want your eyes to be up here. Okay? When I click, be looking in the upper right hand corner. Set up Easy Offer. Okay? When I click Set up Easy Offer, this box asks me, what do I want to share with other agents? Well, I just want to share the supplements, right? Yeah? This is the link that links them to my loop. So I copy this link, and then I click Save. Now, we all know in here, this is pretty cool, how we can just click these and get to what we need to, right? MLS has promised me that it's someday in the future, they're making me an Easy Offer link button. It has not happened yet, but they're gonna make it, okay? For now, what I do is I go into my remarks and I type something like this in the showing agent information. This says, since nobody can read it, DotLoop friendly supplements, cut and paste, and then I put the link here. That link that I just got. So let's erase this. Don't you let me save. And do it in real life. DotLoop friendly. Okay. And then I just paste the link in there. Okay. Make sense to everybody? You can say Easy Offer link if you want to. Most people don't know what Easy Offer is yet. So that's why I say DotLoop, so they know, because they might not recognize what Easy Offer is. I know I didn't when I first heard about it. So it's out there. It's pretty cool. I've used it before. The first time I ever used it was on a new construction property where the agent already had the new construction docs mostly filled out the way the builder wanted them filled out. It was probably the coolest experience of my life, so I quickly learned what an Easy Offer was because I thought it was amazing. Because I just went in there and put my buyer's name in there and used those documents, and it was a piece of cake. Because you know, some builders have their own forms, they have their own language, they have their own whatever. All of that needs to, a lot of that stuff comes from the builder's real estate agent. So it was really nice to have that in there. So if you know, this is kind of a higher level, so you don't have to use it, but it's cool when you're frustrated because you have loop after loop after loop after loop that's the same thing. It's really cool to use this tool instead of being frustrated with having all of those loops. Okay? So it's not necessary, it's just an extra thing. Cancel.
Thank you.
So as the buyer's agent, and you go in and use the easy offer loop,
Mm-hmm.
or the easy offer button,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes into the listing agent's
Uh-huh.
loop,
Uh-huh.
then where is your loop?
It shows up in your DotLoop as a loop.
Okay. It's really their loop.
It's really their loop that you're seeing your side of, which is super. I just think it's amazing because then you don't have all of these crazy loops out there that you're worried about.
So if you put anything into that loop without having it in a separate folder, then they would see it.
No, they don't see it till you share it back with them.
Okay, you're right.
So if you're using, that's a good point. If you're using this easy offer and you start putting things together, they can't see what you're offering or anything like that until you share it back with them. And when you share it back with them is when a new folder is created in their loop that has your name on it. That says offer docs or whatever, offer from. Okay? Now, if you do wind up in the world where you have a whole bunch of loops that you don't want to see, you can always come in here and click archive if you want to get rid of something, because I know it's sometimes chaotic to look at so many loops. So if you're done with it, you can turn it to sold if you're done with it. You can archive it if you're done with it, whatever you want to do. So if you just want it out of the way, you can archive it. Don't worry, nothing ever deletes in DotLoop. Ever. They don't delete anything because they know that we're delete happy sometimes. That's who we are. Now, you will not see this archived option unless you have something done over here. Okay, so if you haven't selected anything over here, you won't see anything here to archive. Okay? So as you do things in DotLoop, new buttons appear. It's like, oh, she wants to do this, so we're going to make this new button for her to click. Okay? So it knows what you're doing and it's following you along in your transaction process in order to make sure they don't have too much in front of you at once. Okay? So it's really, really friendly. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, co-op agents screw up your form. They'll delete something, they'll delete signatures, they'll try to type on it, things will happen, they've screwed it up. Thankfully, DotLoop also knows that co-op agents screw up your forms. So over here, in etc., there is a history button. And as you work in your forms, as they get signed, as you share them, as something else happens with it, as you share it again, it creates different versions. So you have version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each version has this download and view button. So you can either download it or you can just view it if you want to see it's the right one. If you want to make sure that's the one you're looking for. Or you can, if you find the right one, you just download it. When you download it, it is no longer a DotLoop document. It is a PDF, a flat PDF, but you have the preserved form. So if you are in panic mode and they've erased everything, go find the other version, download it, and use it. Okay? Don't panic.
Now, where did you find the history? I'm sorry, I couldn't see one.
It's in etc. over here.
In any of them, okay.
Yep. Okay? Easy enough? Sorry, I have to check my notes to make sure I've covered everything I need to cover.
So 10 years after I'm dead.
You should.
I can still see how stupid you were. Linda.
Absolutely.
In some offices, you can submit your loop for review. It depends on what office you're in. Make sure you ask your admin to turn in your loop if you would submit for review. We're going to change your world a little bit here in a few months, but for now, this is how we're working. So turning it in is submit for review for most admins. Some admins may prefer that you click on the forms and click share to them. So just ask your admin how they prefer for you to turn it in. Submit for review or share. Every single one in the company is different, even me. Now, every time that I said I'll show you at the end of the class what to do if you get lost, I love every single one of you. But I am a managing broker, and I am my own admin, and I'm a little bit busy. So I can't answer your questions 24/7. I have, but I prefer not to. Please call this phone number that is in the lower right-hand section of every single page on DotLoop. This member ID is yours. It is not the company's. It is yours personally. They might answer the phone and say, "Hi, Elaine, how are you doing today?" Don't flip out. DotLoop's just kind of cool. They know who you are. They know what you do for a living. All they do is real estate. That's all they do. They work with real estate agents. They understand sometimes our hair is on fire and we've lost something. And we need them to help us right now, and we might be crying.
They understand how stupid we really are.
You know what? They are so gracious.
I'm stupid.
They are very patient.
They're patient and very gracious. And I mean, if I was hiring somebody for a company, let me tell you, these DotLoop techs are amazing because they really are that sweet. Okay. Have I solved all your problems today? You know, they're just that nice. It's like Starbucks people, but they're DotLoop people. So anyway, this is your member ID. You're a premium member. You will go to the front of the line because you're a premium member. The longest I've waited, I think, in the busy season is maybe 5 minutes on hold. For the most part, they pick up right away. They're not there 24/7, but they are there pretty late and pretty early. So there's not really been a time when I couldn't get a hold of them. They answer, they take care of your problem, they make sure you know everything you need to know.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. Because real estate doesn't stop, right?
So true.
The other thing that I want you to make sure you make a note of, write down support period DotLoop period com. Support.dotloop.com. I say that too fast and everybody says what? Support period DotLoop period com.
.com.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. This is the keys to the kingdom. I mean it. If you ever have any issues that you can't figure out and you don't want to call the helpline for whatever reason, or they're closed because it's 2 a.m. and that's when you're doing your work, cool. Come here. Click on agents. Find what you need. Everybody getting my gist here? Oh, I think I remember Joanna talking about Easy Offer, but I don't remember anything she said. Click on Easy Offer and look. This is how we do it. These are your screenshots. Sometimes there's a little movie. So there's a whole bunch of articles that you can find in here that tell you how to do everything. I love it. I come here all the time. This is how I taught myself to use DotLoop, honestly. Now I'm teaching class like I'm a pro or something. Up here, there's almost always a yellow banner. It says sign up for DotLoopapalooza if you want to learn more. It's kind of the same things that were covered today, just not in this fun, friendly fashion. There's not as many giggles involved. But you can always sign up for DotLoopapalooza and train yourself a little bit more. There's also a search feature on almost every page. If you're looking for something and just can't find it, sometimes it's buried within something else, okay? So if you need it, use that. Now, class is over. But what you really need to do is practice. Before you write an offer, before your hair is on fire, please practice with a coworker. Put a loop together. Use your personal email to create a fake buyer. Okay? And put an offer together. Go in, put a contract together. Go in, share a seller's disclosure. Go in, list something. Use it, play with it. We do not care what you're doing in there as brokers and admins. We don't care. If you want to use, if your kid plays soccer and you want to sign up a snack sheet in here, we don't care. Use it however you want to use it. It's yours. But play with it. Make sure you get familiar with it before you need it. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
As long as you're not accidentally sharing with a co-op agent that works for another company or something like that, you're perfectly fine. It's great. So use it, love it, learn it. We're done.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo!